Good morning, everyone. Uh, I hope you people have understood all the numericals that we were trying to do in the case of viscosity. Okay, so just a quick recap of what was all covered. We looked at the properties of fluids like the density, specific gravity, specific weight, specific volume. We looked at viscosity. We have understood Newton's law of viscosity and how shear stress is influenced by velocity and the distance. And the two types of viscosity, the dynamic viscosity and the kinematic viscosity. And we have done numericals based on these. Okay, so that was your first part of the properties. Now, today what we need to look at is there are some properties which are very, very closely linked to one another. And these properties, I have just listed them there. Adhesion. Many of these properties will be very familiar to you because you have learned it either in your chemistry, sometimes in your physics. These topics would be familiar. But here what we need to understand is how they influence one another and how the property of the fluid is affected by them. So first we have adhesion, or what we call by the term adhesive forces. Secondly, we have cohesion, or what we call by cohesive forces. Okay, so both adhesion and cohesion are forces. Then we have surface tension, and we have what is called as capillarity or capillary rise. So let us look at what first adhesive or adhesion forces or cohesive forces mean. So when you say adhesive forces are the attractive forces between unlike molecules. I will give you example for this and explain. So adhesive force is a force which is attractive force between two unlike molecules. That's why we use the word adhesive. You are trying to paste them together, two different materials together, right? So the unlike molecules attract, and that force is adhesive force. They are caused by forces acting between two substances. It can be mechanical force or it can be electrostatic force. Okay, so adhesive forces are basically that. So two different types of molecules, but they are having a attraction. And this force of attraction can be either in the form of mechanical forces or it can be electrostatic forces. So that is adhesion or adhesive force. Now, cohesive force. These are the intermolecular forces. So, between molecules of the same substance. These are intermolecular forces which cause a tendency of a liquid to resist its separation. Okay, so the liquid tries to remain together. I will tell you very good examples of this. If you have a very smooth surface, imagine let us say our laminated table, okay, with a smooth laminate, and suddenly water you spill over that. Okay, you will see that the water may form like globules, but they try to quickly come together. That is the intermolecular forces that are trying to keep the molecules from separating. Okay, so the cohesive forces are intermolecular forces which cause a tendency in the liquid to resist separation. These attractive forces are between the molecules of the same substance. So let's quickly look at adhesion and cohesion, or adhesive force and cohesive force. Both are trying to keep or attractive forces. But adhesion is between different molecules or intermolecules, unlike molecules. Whereas, unlike molecules, whereas the cohesive forces are between the molecules of the same substance, which is preventing its separation. So, like I was trying to tell you an example, when a liquid comes into contact with the surface of a cylinder, suppose I'm pouring water into a glass cylinder or a graduated cylinder, or if I'm trying, liquid is put on a table. Okay, so spills on a table. There is both cohesive force and the adhesive force, both coming into picture. These forces will also be responsible for the shape that the liquid takes on the surface or how it sticks to the surface. So all of us have observed when we have a smooth surface and sometimes water spills, water may not show the flowing tendency, it may show the tendency to form globules or droplets, and remain together. So the forces of adhesion and cohesion will also be influencing how the liquid forms the shape. And all of you have heard of the term meniscus because you have been doing your chemistry lab, and you know that the teacher would have told you, look at the lower meniscus. Meniscus is the layer. Understood? And whenever we say meniscus, we don't draw it as a straight line, we draw it as a U shape. So why this U shape? Most of the time, solutions that we are taking in the burette, I think all of you are familiar with the burette. Okay, yes, solutions which are made in water. So it's mostly water-based solution. And adhesive forces are very strong in liquids like water. So what happens? These forces will stick to the surface of the cylinder, and so the meniscus formed will be curved like a U. So that is what I was trying to tell you. When the liquid comes into contact with the surface of maybe a graduated cylinder or a table, there are both cohesive and adhesive forces that are acting on it. And which force is acting, whether it is adhesive or cohesive, will decide what is the shape the liquid takes. Okay. Due to the effect of adhesive force, liquids on a surface can spread in the form of a thin line or uniform film over the surface. Okay. The liquid will form a thin line over the surface. So when we say thin line over the surface, if water is spilling and you see water forming a very thin layer on the surface, then that is because of adhesion. But if you see the water quickly forming, globules like, that is because of cohesion. Okay. Alternatively, sometimes when there are very strong cohesive forces, the liquid will divide into spherical beads-like surfaces, and that is called as cohesion, cohesive force. So adhesion, cohesion. These two type of forces can come into picture when a liquid comes into contact with a surface like that of a cylinder or the surface of a table, etc. But if it is adhesion, the form in which the liquid surface takes the shape or it moves on the table will differ. So if it is inside a glass cylinder and you have water or water-based solutions, you will see that you will have a U-shaped meniscus getting formed. I have the figures and all after this, after the explanation, we will look at that. So that U-shaped meniscus is getting formed because the water has got a very strong adhesive force and it is sticking to the side of the cylinder, thereby allowing the formation of that U curve. Similarly, if water is spilling on the table and water is forming a thin layer on the table, then that too is because of adhesion. If cohesive forces are stronger, Okay, so in water, cohesive forces are not strong, but if you take the liquid like mercury in a glass tube, you will see that instead of having a U shape, it will take an inverted U and you will have the bulge on the top. That is because of the strong cohesive force. Similarly, in water also there are cohesive forces, or if forces of cohesion come into play and if liquid falls on the surface, instead of forming a thin layer, it will quickly form spherical balls and it will be playing around like that. So that is the effect of adhesion and cohesion. Now, coming to the third term in the list, which is surface tension. I'm very, very sure all these three terms are familiar to all of you, but I'm just repeating it. Now, what is surface tension? Surface tension is defined as the tensile force. So, tension force is the pulling or stretching force. Okay, so surface tension is defined as the tensile force acting on the surface of a liquid, okay, which is in contact with gas or in contact with the surface between two immiscible liquids. So when you have what to say, beaker of water or beaker of any solution, it is exposed to air, so the contact surface is between the liquid and the air or gas. So, suppose two solutions which are miscible, if I take, you cannot have a surface tension between these two liquids. Two immiscible liquids, if I take, say, thick oil and water, then there will be a surface layer between them, which is the contact surface. So, surface tension is always developed on contact surface, whether the surface is in between a liquid and gas or between two liquids which are immiscible or cannot mix together. Suppose you have two things which mix together, then you will get a solution. There will be no separating contact layer. So this surface which is between or acting as the contact surface behaves like a membrane which is stretched or under tension. And that is the meaning of the term surface tension. And how we measure this is in terms of force per unit length of the surface. And hence, the unit of surface tension is Newton per meter. So, adhesion is a force. It is Newton. Cohesive force is also Newton. But surface tension is the property which is allowing the surface of the contact to behave like a membrane which is under tension, and this is given by the unit of force per unit length, and so the unit is Newton per meter. And surface tension is commonly represented by the symbol sigma. Okay, I have noted it down in your next this thing. You can take a look there, but it is called or used by the symbol sigma. Now, there is a related term to both of this, which all these properties are influencing, and that is called as the property of capillarity. This all of you have experienced. You put a straw into your juice, suck up, you are having the capillary effect. Now, how fast your liquid is going to move? So, if you have a thick milkshake or such liquid and you have water, you can imagine how much force you will require to suck the milkshake or water. So the capillarity action, okay, is defined, or capillarity. We can simply call it by the term capillary rise, fall, or capillarity. Capillarity is defined as a phenomenon of rising or falling. Okay, falling happens in case of liquids like mercury, okay, but other liquids will rise in the capillary tube. So capillarity can be defined as the phenomena of rise or fall of a liquid surface in a small tube compared to the level of liquid when the tube is held vertically in the liquid. So if I have a straw, I'm dipping it in water, then automatically there will be a rise. That if I'm sucking from the top, then the water will come up very fast because of the vacuum that I'm creating, and I'm pulling the air from the capillary tube. But even if I just put a straw or glass tube into that water will rise in the tube. This is called as capillary rise. So the rise of liquid surface is not known as capillary rise. The fall of liquid surface is known as capillary fall or capillary depression also you can call that. And the unit of capillary rise or fall will be in centimeter converted to meters. So the unit is very easy for you to remember. So now let us just look. Now it will be very clear to you what is capillarity, what is meniscus. Okay, so look at this. This is the meniscus shape that all of you see when you're using your burettes, correct? Because most of the time we will have water-based solutions here. So here, adhesion is very great. Okay, so adhesion will allow this film to stick to the surface as much as possible. Hence, the shape becomes a depressed U like this. And best example where adhesion is greater than cohesion. Okay, so wherever adhesion is greater than cohesion, you have a U-shaped meniscus, and the best example for that will be water. Wherever cohesion is greater than adhesion, your meniscus will be like this. That's why the globules like formations happen. So then your surface becomes curved like this. And mercury is one best example where you can have cohesive forces greater compared to adhesive forces. Any liquid between contact surface attains the shape as we see. The curved surface of the liquid is called by the term meniscus. If adhesion is more than cohesion, meniscus will be concave. If cohesion is greater than adhesion, meniscus will be convex. Capillarity is due to cohesion and adhesion and surface tension. I will show you in the next thing how all these things. So we talked about three properties before this: adhesion, cohesion, and surface tension. Okay, so you will have adhesion or cohesion while forming the meniscus, and this is your contact surface. This surface will have surface tension, and this here the surface tension will come like this. So capillarity or capillary action is a combo of all the properties that we have been talking about earlier. If adhesion is more than cohesion, then there will be capillary rise. If cohesion is more than adhesion, there will be capillary fall. So capillary rise you will see in all case of liquids like water, solutions, etc. because the adhesive forces are more, whereas cohesive forces are greater in the case of liquids like mercury, and there you will have capillary fall. So capillarity is either rise or fall, but in the case of liquids like mercury, you will have fall, and in the case of liquids like water, you can have the rise of capillary action. Now, this is what the exact, these figures you should be very clear so that you understand. Okay, adhesion greater than cohesion, you have capillary rise. Now this in capillary rise, okay, See, this is the surface, and surface tension will be acting here. So you have three types of effects coming on picture of capillarity. So capillary rise can be affected by, or it is happening because of adhesion, and on the surface you have the surface tension. Capillary fall. This is because the cohesive forces are stronger and the surface is falling below. See here, this is the level of water or the liquid in that, and you can see the rise. Here, this is the level, but there is a dip, and inside the tube, you see that there is a lower level of liquid, and the liquid surface is like an inverted U. That is because of the heavy cohesive force compared to the adhesive force. Example is mercury. You have surface tension in the downward direction like this. So I hope you have understood adhesion or adhesive force, cohesion, cohesive force, surface tension between the contact surface of liquid and air or liquid and liquid when they are immiscible, and the surface is stretched like a membrane under tension. In capillarity, the action where if you have a glass tube or a tube inserted into a liquid, the liquid will either rise or fall in the tube. Now, the liquid will rise if the adhesive forces are stronger. The liquid will fall if the cohesive forces are greater. So, the question will be rise from where? Fall from where? That is what you should remember. From the outside chamber, the liquid will rise. From the outside chamber level, it will fall. Now, one more property what you need to remember is when the liquid is rising or falling in the tube, the surface of that meniscus, whether it is inverted U or U-shaped as in the case of water, inverted U as in the case of the mercury, both the surfaces will have surface tension. And you have to remember this figure in order to explain that. Okay, so I hope all of you are very clear with that. Now, with respect to this, we have one more term which is called as angle of contact. Now, what does angle of contact mean? See, from the vertical surface like this, what is the angle which that stretched membrane? See, the membrane will be only till here inside the glass, but it can give an angle with respect to the vertical. So you just extend the membrane line like that. That angle which surface tension makes with the vertical of your glass cylinder is what is called as angle of contact. And in the case of where adhesion is stronger and you have capillary rise, this angle will be an acute angle. In the case of water, we take that angle to be 0 also. So, angle of contact is the angle which the meniscus, whether it is in the case of rise or whether it's in the case of fall, the meniscus makes with the vertical of your cylinder or tube. That angle is acute angle when it is rise, and it is an obtuse angle when it is the case of a fall. So in the case of the angle between the surface tension and the vertical, if adhesion is more than the cohesion, if adhesion is more, you will have acute angle, and if cohesion is more, you will have obtuse angle. So it is in this case where you have mercury and such liquids that you will be having the obtuse angle, and usually for mercury you will take that obtuse angle as somewhere between 128 degrees or 130 degrees. In the case of water, the acute angle we take almost as 0, unless given in the question in some other values. So this is the same thing, only thing it is shown as water and mercury. You can see the rise, you can see the fall. Okay. Now we need to come to deriving an expression for a liquid in a tube which is dipped into the liquid. So this derivation is the derivation that gives us the relationship between the height h. Okay, we use this height as h. Rise, this is the rise, right? What is the relationship between the rise of liquid in the water column, or sorry, in the glass tube, and how we are finding it. So now in this picture, we have the surface tension acting here, and this is your angle of contact, and this is the h. Okay, now we will consider the weight of liquid in this part of the tube. So we have the area of the tube here, h, and rho into g, that is the density of the liquid into g. So your value that you are going to get is for the weight of h unit of liquid in the tube is area into height. Okay, that will give you the volume into density, which we use by the term rho, into g to get the weight. So it is mass into, so you know that density is equal to mass by volume. So when I multiply the density, which we usually use as the symbol rho, by the volume. Okay, so what is the volume of a cylinder? The area into, in this case we are taking this height as h. So area of the cylinder, suppose r is the diameter of the cylinder, pi r square is the area. Pi r square or pi d square by 4, whichever way. So here if I have written diameter d, I can take it as pi d square by 4 is the area. Pi d square by 4 into h gives me the volume that is there. When I am multiplying it by the density of the liquid rho, I get the mass of the liquid. And you know, mass into g will give me the weight of the liquid. So finally, the weight of the liquid is pi d square by 4 into, or pi r square by 2 into h into rho into g. And I will equate that, the weight of the h column of liquid, to the vertical component of surface tension. So this is the surface tension. So surface tension is going upward, weight is coming downward. These are the two things that I will balance. It's written here, but I'm just telling you. So if I look at this column where the rise has happened, surface tension is the only force which is going to give me upward component. You have studied this in your mechanics. So if there is a surface tension acting at an inclination, that will have an upward component. Whereas the weight of the liquid is always going to act downward. Okay, so keep in mind, weight of the liquid is pi d square by 4 into h into density, that is rho into g. And rho into g is nothing but your specific weight, which we used to write as gamma. Either ways they will write that. So that force is acting downward, whereas the component of surface tension is going to be acting upward. So what is the component of surface tension? Surface tension is acting on the full circle of the meniscus. So your meniscus is going to have a circle, and that perimeter is pi into d. So sigma force acting over pi into d into vertical upward is cos theta. So your value of surface tension component in the upward direction is going to be sigma into pi into d, which is the perimeter here, into cos theta. Now, what I told earlier, pi d square by 4 into h into, either you write rho into g or you write gamma. Either ways, you will get the weight. Has to be equated to pi d into sigma into cos theta. So let us look what happens. So here we have used gamma only and the volume. So pi d square by h. Your h ends up as 4 sigma cos theta divided by, either you write gamma or you write rho g. Gamma is what we use for specific weight, which is nothing but density rho into g. You can either write it as rho g into d, where d is the diameter, or you can write it as gamma into d. Whichever way you remember, no problem, but your equation should be remembered perfectly. I want all of you to note this down in your book now, because we will be trying to do, if time permits, numericals also on this. So h, if I write this in meters, if I write this in meter cube, I will have h in meters. Even sigma, Newton per meter or Newton centimeter. So all the units should be converted properly. Then I will write h in meters. If I am using some other unit, based on that I will get h. But you should remember that the unit of distance is present here, here and here. Unless you change all those units, your h value that you will calculate will be wrong. So h, or rise of capillary, it can be rise or fall. Formula is the same. Okay. Even for fall, the formula is the same. Only thing, it will be in the your theta will be 180 like that, so you will get a negative distance. So your theta for water is usually 0, so you will get a positive value here. But when theta is 128, 130 for mercury, that will be the value. If it is not given to you in the question, you can safely assume 128 or 130. Okay. Whereas if it is given in the question, you need to use what is given in the question. So suppose you are using doing this for mercury and I am writing 130 here, automatically my answer will become negative. So that indicates a capillary fall. And when it is water, cos 0 is 1, so this becomes a positive value. Note down this expression now. H is equal to 4 sigma cos theta divided by, either write gamma d or write rho g d, whichever way you are comfortable. Now all the units should be converted to the same so that you are able to. So it is easy here because this will be Newton per meter, this will be Newton per meter cube. If you are writing rho, otherwise you will be writing rho into g, where it will all automatically get converted into Newton. So either ways your answer should be fine. So if you look, the rise of capillarity is inversely proportional to the diameter of the tube. That means when diameter increases, this decreases. When diameter decreases, this increases. So for smaller diameter, rise will be higher. That is, and for larger diameters, rise will be lower. The same equation can be used to calculate the capillary depression. Theta will be obtuse, so you will get a negative answer. And I have already mentioned this. It is just written here for your information. Surface tension is the tensile force, and the unit will be Newton per meter. So I hope you have noted down that particular question, and I'm just giving you one simple problem for you to calculate. Please write down the question. The capillary rise, in a glass tube is not to exceed 0.2 mm of water. That means capillary rise it is, and value of H is 0.2, but unit is mm of water. Determine the minimum size of the tube. So determine the minimum size of the tube given that surface tension for water in contact with air is 0.0725. I repeat, surface tension sigma equals 0.0725 Newton per meter.
So in yesterday's class, I have given each of you one task. One by one, can you tell me what is the traffic management system that you have seen, and then how it has been implemented? So if you finish it today, then you may not speak tomorrow, but this activity will continue until and unless everyone gives your comment. Anyone? Very good if you take initiative rather than me calling out you. Yes, Anusha. Anusha. Yeah. So what was the traffic management?
Anybody who has finished it can tell me the answer. I will just open the notepad by the time.
Don't tell me that there wasn't any.
So the given details are for you. H or capillary rise.
Yes, tell me, Anusha.
H is equal to 0.2 mm. We have done this yesterday, day before yesterday, so I don't think there should be a confusion. 0.2 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Surface tension sigma is given as 0.0725 Newton per meter. The diameter of the tube is not given to you. You have been asked to find out the theta because it is water. Okay, the rise of capillary rise is this. Determine the minimum size. So theta, because it is water, I can directly take it as 0 unless something else is given to you in the question which is not given. Then if I want to write rho into G, I need to have 1000 kg per meter cube, and you know the value of G is 9.8. So you have all the values. H is equal to 4 sigma divided by rho into G into D. Otherwise, directly put sigma here, which is again going to be this into this one. I'm just writing it like that. The value I need is D. Please calculate with substitution. Tell me the answer. So when you multiply 1000 kg per meter cube into 9.8, it will automatically get converted. So you don't have to do any other special conversion for that. I want the answer for D.
Some under some plywood. Yeah, so yeah, one by one.
Whoever has finished, can please give the answer.
Right. Yeah, so to some extent, congestion has been reduced. Very good. Good observation. Then, anyone? Then, yeah, Pranav.
Neha is there? Neha?
Yeah.
0.147 meter, ma'am. 147 meter.
Or you can write it in centimeter after you 0.1, sorry, 147 meters. So minimum the diameter should be there if the surface tension has to be H has to be of 0.2 mm, given that surface tension developed is so much. I hope everybody was able to do it. It's a simple substitution. So please finish it and we can wind up the class. So today, a quick recap on what we did. We understood the terms cohesion, adhesion, specific gravity, and capillarity. And we understood that capillarity is affected by adhesion, cohesion, and surface tension. When adhesion is greater, it will be capillary rise. And the meniscus will be curved inwards, U. Surface tension will be going towards the outside, upward. When it is capillary fall, cohesion is greater than adhesion, and you have a fall in the liquid, and you will have an inverted surface or a convex surface with surface tension going away from the surface but at an obtuse angle. So if it is water, the angle of theta can be taken as 0. If it is mercury, you either take it as 128 or 130 unless given in the question, and then you will calculate. So your H will depend on all these factors. Yeah. So give me a minute. I will.